Today we're going to be talking about Hurricane Ian and the impact of its devastation on Florida, and we're getting to it right now. So I've lived in Florida basically my entire life, and I am the most arrogant hurricane Florida resident there is. I don't board up, I don't run and get water, I don't go crazy, I don't do any of that stuff. And when we got hit by Hurricane Charlie, I'll never forget it. It went straight through, it went straight through, and then I think it was 3 weeks later, it went and we got hit again. And it was, we felt the impact of that here in Central Florida. You know, little bit of, we were out of power for like 3 weeks, which really sucked. And some fence damage. And it was, trees were down and things of that nature. But what I know about the United States is that there's floods and mudslides and there's natural disasters wherever you're at, blizzards and whatever. And there's many times where the weatherman, is like, they're so excited about the bad weather coming. It's irritating because you get this hype, and then, it goes off the other way. And that happens a lot. So if there's 20 hurricanes coming our way, maybe one will hit. And it won't hit here, or it's downgraded to a category 1 or whatever. So you get to a place where, especially if you've grown up and you're 100 years old like myself, where hurricanes just don't have the fear factor that they do if you aren't used to them. And that's the two things that I get from clients or anybody who calls my channel, from my channel. They are afraid of two things in Florida. Number 1, hurricanes, and number 2, alligators. And, I always say, we just don't see alligators walking around. They're just not walking around. And I have a healthy fear of alligators. I leave them alone. So anyway, back to the hurricanes. This hurricane was a doozy, and this one shook me up, and it's sad. The devastation is next level, apocalyptic level. And, I have a healthy fear of the ocean. Like, I'm not afraid of the ocean, but Mother Nature is something else. And, this was the 5th largest hurricane to ever hit the United States. So this was a doozy. And, to our friends down in Fort Myers and Punta Gorda and Cape Coral and on and on and on, our hearts go out to you. I have no words. I mean, people lost everything. People lost their lives. People lost their homes and irreplaceable items like pictures and things like that. A lot of this stuff can be replaced, but things like that cannot, and people cannot be replaced. And then, of course, I think of the little dogs and cats and whatever that got caught up in this mess. So this was a doozy. This one shook me up. And I sat in this house by myself, and thank God for new construction, because the codes are different now. And this house shook for 24 hours. I mean, this thing went across Central Florida at 8 miles an hour, and it started raining in the morning, and it didn't go like rain and then stop, and then rain and then stop. It was full on pouring rain. And then then at nighttime, when I'm supposed to be sleeping, was when the hurricane passed us. And so I'm giving this video to say, I bet you Central Florida is looking better to you now if you were thinking of the coast. I grew up in Clearwater, Florida, and I love Clearwater Beach, but you couldn't talk me into moving to a beach town now for anything. If you bought me the house, I would live there part-time, but I would have everything ready to run for the hills, because like this thing was just like, if you haven't checked out some of those YouTube videos, it'll blow your mind. It's like watching a movie. So there are many people that were little, nose up to Central Florida. Well, let me give you a fun fact that once a hurricane hits, it hits its landfall, by the time it hits Central Florida, it has downgraded. The worst case scenario, it's at a Category 2. And if you're a meteorologist, please, I'm just going on what I've read and what I've watched. So, forgive me for I know not what I say if I'm saying anything wrong. Not to downgrade what happened in Orlando, because we had severe flooding and whatnot, but we did not get devastated anything close to an entire city being demolished, because that's what happened to Fort Myers Beach. So by the time it hits land, we used to be like, oh, we live in Central Florida, we're never going to get hit by a hurricane. Well, that's not true, but we don't get the devastation and we don't get the storm surge. So if you're thinking of moving into Florida, you might want to consider Central Florida, because it probably is a little bit safer. So if you're getting any value out of this video, do me a favor, hit that like button and comment below and tell me, what did you think of Hurricane Ian? So yeah, watch the YouTube videos. You'll see yachts down the road, $2 million Bugattis, like it's nothing. So billions of dollars lost, of homes, damages, roads, bridges, all of that stuff. But Central Florida is one of the top 5 most hurricane-prone areas in Florida. Now, depending on what side of the aisle you sit on, and I am not getting in the middle of that discussion, global warming, yay, nay, hey, I'm not getting into all that. Some say it's a real thing, some say it's not so much. Hurricane Ian, if you don't think it's a real thing, may have changed your mind. I don't know, that's for you to decide. But usually, typically, by the time it hits landfall, it is slowed down by the time it gets to us. I had somebody from Cape Coral reach out to me just today, shout out to you, and say, this was it. This was the last straw. I'm moving. Yeah, not everybody loves Central Florida. I love Central Florida. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. It's the land of opportunity. It has been. I've been here for many, many years. My life was forever changed moving here. I have found much success here in Orlando. I have found many, many friends. I have found lots to do. And I'm centrally located. I can go to this beach on this coast. I can go to that beach on that coast. I can go, to Gainesville for college ball, Miami, wherever. It's centrally, hence the term Central Florida. But I don't have the dangers of a storm surge, tsunami, apocalyptic, whatever, happening, and, life-changing events. There were people that stayed in their homes on that beach that, I was talking to my daughter, and I don't even think I would have stayed. And I'm usually one that I'm like, I remember talking to clients on the phone, I'm like, it's a hurricane, who cares? Well, I think even if I lived on the beach, I would be packing up, because you never know what's going to happen. So I hope I didn't talk you out of moving into Florida, because we get these they don't happen all the time, and many times they don't hit at all. But when they do, sometimes they are a doozy. And this was one of those times. And again, I wanted to send my prayers, my thoughts, because I do love this state. I've moved out of this state a couple times, and every time I come running back, and because I love I love this city. I mean, I do love this city, but I love this state as well. And it doesn't hurt that we don't have state tax. So today we were talking about Hurricane Ian and the impact that it had on our state. But not only that, but that I am grateful that I live in Central Florida and not on the coast. But if that's not what you're looking for, well, let us know. You got to reach out. You have to let us know exactly what it is that you're looking for so we can get those videos out to you as soon as possible. So remember, if you're thinking about moving to Orlando or Central Florida, send us a text, give us a call, send us an email, however you wish to connect, because we got you covered when it comes to moving to Orlando and Central Florida. And we'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.